So when I was younger, my early adult years, if you will, I kind of had a plan as to how my life would turn out. And it was all step by step. There were certain things that I was going to do within a certain amount of years, within a certain amount of time. And things like graduate college, find a job, have a career, advance in that career, have a cool job title, get married, have children, maybe live in a nice house, maybe drive a neat car. And I always thought that that path was a straight and narrow path. You do the things you're supposed to do, and all of that will fall into place. And, as a 20-year-old, 21-year-old kid, really, maybe that was a little bit of a naive approach or belief to have in life. And I know there's many folks that have a lot more years and wisdom than I do. But, I had an idealistic approach and way I thought about life when I was in my early 20s. So be it. Now, for the first 12 years of my adulthood, things were great. And a lot of those items I checked off the list. Started a career in finance, got to work in New York City, sort of the financial hub of the world. Got married to my college sweetheart, Morgan, had 2 boys, Arden and Carson, who are turning into almost men now, high schooler, middle schooler. Had a nice house, did everything I was supposed to do. But then as year 12 started ticking into year 13, I found myself increasingly unhappy. In fact, and my wife's not here tonight, but she would probably say that I was an absolutely miserable person to be around. Absolutely miserable. And there was no reason for it. If you think about it, I did everything I was supposed to do. Why was I so miserable? One evening I came home from work, and mind you, I'm working in finance, and I have a job title as a director in a firm, managing people. People are dependent on me. I came home and I said, Morgan, my wife, I'm really unhappy. I can't do this anymore. I can't wake up 20, 30 years from now and still doing what I'm doing. It's not going to happen. I need a change. Little did I know that me finally confronting that misery and that unhappiness, and little did I know those words would mark the beginning of a 7-year journey in completely reinventing myself as to who I am and as to what I was going to accomplish in life. I actually went back to school in my early 30s to get my MBA. Now, fortunately, I was able to do that online. So it was cool to be online before it really became cool to be online in the last few years. And the day after I received my diploma in the mail for my master's program, I said, Morgan, I'm still not really fulfilled. Would it be okay with you if I took the LSAT and applied to law school? Oh, and it's only another 4 years of education. And I have to go at night because I still have to work, so you're pretty much not going to see me. And after some long and deep conversations, the answer was, let's do it. So I went back to law school in my mid to late 30s, and for 4 years straight, woke up early in the morning to take 1 kid to school, worked a full-time job at USAA, would leave late in the afternoon to go down to St. Mary's Law School to go to class, come home, eat dinner about 9:30 at night. The kids were sleeping by then, so I didn't see them. And then study till about 1, 2 o'clock in the morning. Lather, rinse, repeat for 4 years straight. Needless to say, my children were 4 and 8 at the time. I missed a lot of years, I missed a lot of time. But when I graduated and then passed the bar exam, it looks like things were back on the right track again. I got a job at a law firm, great law firm in town, and I was an attorney. I was practicing law. I made a career change. Then guess what happened? COVID happened. We were in Israel when COVID happened, and we came back from Israel. And a couple of months after coming back from Israel and COVID was going on, I lost my job. So after a 7-year journey to reinvent myself, to become something that I wanted to become, I was out of work and I wasn't that person anymore. I was still a lawyer, but I didn't have a job. I didn't have an office to go into. So what did I do? I didn't go back to school again. I didn't become a doctor. I have too much debt already. I reinvented myself again. I said, you know what? This time I'm going to be in charge of my own destiny. I opened my own law firm. We did it, and I don't know what I'm doing. I didn't know what I was doing. Sometimes I still don't know what I'm doing. But I opened my own law firm, counseling clients in business and real estate law. I actually went back to my old job, to my old employer, USAA. They hired me as a legal and compliance professional. And plus, the cool thing was it was remote, so I got to work from home full time. And then when we moved to Atlanta, I also had the opportunity, and I'm now an adjunct professor with Kennesaw State University teaching in their paralegal program. So I went from someone who was in finance to now being a paralegal professor and advising business clients. So let me cut to the chase. Let me kind of get to what did I learn, right? What I've learned is that where you start is never where you finish. And what I've also learned is that whatever plans you have, they're not your plans.
That's right. That's right.
There is only one person in charge of those plans. That's God. And that is radical thinking to a lot of people. It was radical thinking to me at the time. And it took a number of years of counseling and working with Rabbi Teldon to get me to finally understand that and adopt that mindset. And I'm very grateful for it. But there's only one person in charge, and it's God. God has already made the plan. And in fact, in the Talmud has a quote and says, all is in the hands of heaven. So what does that mean? It means none of us are in charge. I'm not in charge, you're not in charge, no one's in charge. There's only one person in charge, and that's God. So at the end of the day, I can choose to be a good person, do the things that I need to do on a day-to-day basis, be a good father, be a good husband, be a good son, be a good member of my community. But God's already written my story. I don't know what the ending looks like, and I think I'm still at the beginning. But the reality is that He's in charge. Okay? I no longer fear the future. I no longer live in the future. I live in the present. Because I firmly believe that God, when you go through a hardship, you go through a difficult time, you go through a reinvention, God is sending you a message. It's teaching you a lesson, and it's your job to understand what that lesson is. So what were my lessons? Well, at a time in my life, 12 years into my career, when I should have been happy and joyful and had young children and everything's going well, why was I so miserable? It was God telling me, you know what? It's time you go do something else where you can find true fulfillment in your life. Go find rewarding work that you'll be happy with. When I lost my job in 2020, after getting my dream job, what was the message? The message was, go find something where you can be there in the morning to send your kids to school, be there at night to have dinner with them, never miss another ice hockey practice, never miss another ice hockey game. Both my boys are ice hockey players, phenomenal players. But do something that gives you work-life balance. Those were the messages. So my message to you is, if you're ever going through a difficult time in life, or you feel like you're going through transition in life, don't worry about what the future will bring. You can't control it. But worry about what you can do right now. Worry about what is the message that's being conveyed to me. What can I learn? And I promise you, if you do that, you'll never fear the future again. Thank you.